I am hearing more and more unscrupulous things that mortgage lenders sometimes say to potential clients to earn their business. Today is a warning video. Watch out. I want to go over with you guys roughly 10 or 11 things that you should watch out for if you are speaking to a mortgage lender while looking for any type of mortgage or home loan. I'm Aaron Lietz with Logical Loan. Let's get into the video. Okay, so today's the big one. There are so many things here that get under my skin so badly that give our industry a bad name. Maybe some of you watching this right now have heard some of these things. Put the comments below if you have. But I'm going to go over with you quickly here 10 things that if you hear your mortgage lender or potential mortgage lender say, run. Run from them as quickly as you can and find somebody that you trust. Okay? Very, very important here. These are red flags, and I'll mention why as we go over each of them. But one of my jobs, I feel, and one of my goals here with the channel is to protect you, to empower you, the borrower and the client, with as much information, good information as possible, so you can make the best decision and get the best possible home loan or mortgage as you can. All right, so let's jump right in. Number one, I'll beat anybody's price. I can't tell you how many times I've heard this. There's so many things wrong with this statement. Number one is typically if you have a mortgage lender or a broker or any kind that says they can beat anybody's price, well, how do they know that? Because down the street, you could have somebody who also is saying the same thing. But even more importantly, and there's going to be quite a few statements in here I'm going to go over in regards to this kind of sentiment, is the word desperation. Many times, if you hear a lender say something like this, it's a hint or a sign, an indicator, if you will, of desperation. And one of the things that my parents and grandparents had said to me for so many years is that desperation often leads to disaster. When you're in desperation mode, because maybe business is slow, or you're worried about something, or you're just flailing and grasping for anything you can get in terms of business, that oftentimes leads to mistakes and also misleading statements. And those can mess up a mortgage loan really bad. Why is that? Well, one of the big reasons is because mortgages are complicated. And mortgages are complicated because we as human beings are complicated. Our lives are complicated. We oftentimes have intricate or complicated income situations, asset situations, our income history, our documents, many things that are pertaining to our lives when we're trying to get a mortgage and trying to move through the mortgage process as smoothly as possible and not have it get a snag or hit a big dip in the road and die, right? Those things we're relying upon accurate information and somebody who knows what they're doing. But if you have somebody who says, I'll beat anybody's price, that should be a red flag, because none of us in the business work for free. And if it's just a race to the bottom and all everybody in the transaction is focusing on is the price and the money, oftentimes what happens is they're not focused on the other things that are in the transaction, such as the to-do list that's into underwriting. Maybe an underwriter has a bunch of stuff that needs to get done and it doesn't get done in time. Maybe all of a sudden this loan officer missed a few things and now your loan doesn't fund on time, or now it doesn't fund at all because it turns out that there's snags or roadblocks that stand in the way. So the better thing is to develop a relationship with a lender that you trust, okay, and stick with that person. As long as you trust that person, all your loan pricing is going to show on your loan estimate anyways. So there's going to be total transparency there. But saying I'll beat any price is oftentimes said by lenders who are in desperation. Okay. Number two, no one has better rates than me. Very similar to number one. Nothing could be further from the truth. I'll be honest, I don't necessarily know that I have better rates. First of all, because rates are changing daily. Okay. And the rate that you get or that I get, because I can't write my own loans, is going to vary depending upon the actual file that's put in, depending upon my debt to income ratio, my loan to value, right? All these things are going to come into play, how much the loan is, and so forth. Those things can affect the pricing of the loan. And also, the pricing of the loan and the rate and so forth can be affected by which lender we go with. There's hundreds of lenders for mortgage in the United States. Okay. I'll set aside the issue of whether a bank or a broker is better. But really, if someone says no one has better rates than me or something like that, it's just not true, unfortunately, because there's hundreds, if not thousands of lenders that you could call and find out that maybe they are in fact offering you a better rate or a better payment or a better situation. Okay. So again, watch out for those signs of desperation, because those mean that the focus is not necessarily what it needs to be, which is on you and making sure that you get exactly the loan that you need. And more importantly, that that loan can fund on time and that it doesn't fall out or die. Okay. Number three, I can close faster than anyone. Another one. Same kind of thing here. If someone says, I can close faster than anyone, the difficulty is there. They don't know if they can close faster than anyone, because every single person's situation is totally unique. It could very well be the case that one person with their loan file, they close very quickly, but then another person who is maybe in a similar situation, but they have other circumstances, maybe all of a sudden their loan gets snagged. And now all of a sudden they can't close very quickly. It's actually a difficult situation. Okay. So saying I can close faster than anyone is just patently not true, because they haven't looked at the field of people that can close fast. And oftentimes there are circumstances that are outside of the lender's control and outside of your control. Okay. So just saying I can close faster than anyone is almost just like a throwaway statement. It's impossible to say I can close faster than anyone, because there are many situations that are just not within our ability to grasp or move it forward. It's in somebody else's hands, and therefore it takes time. What you can do, though, is if you work with a lender you trust and somebody who is very, very skilled, they can, to use a chess analogy, they can look at your file and they can think 3 to 4 steps ahead. And they can say, okay, given your file, we're probably going to need this, this, and this. And then they can prepare, because they're anticipating what that underwriter is going to come back with and ask for. That's really important. And that takes time, because mortgages are complicated. So learning mortgages and becoming a great loan officer takes a lot of time, because there's lots and lots of rules. There's hundreds of rules that we have to learn. And so over time, if you learn those things, then you're going to be able to look at a file and say, yes, we can move forward, and this is how much time it's going to take, or no, we can't, and we need to do this, this, and this first. Okay. Okay. Next. This one really gets under my skin. You don't qualify for a HELOC, when in fact, they don't offer HELOCs. I actually bring this up because I used to work for a company that, believe it or not, they encouraged us to tell people on the phone, you don't qualify for a HELOC. And at the time, they didn't offer HELOCs, and they were saying that because they were trying to sell you on the idea of doing a cash out refinance. Now, in some cases, a cash out refinance may be better for you. But in this instance, they were telling people or encouraging loan officers to tell potential clients that they don't qualify for a HELOC, even though they don't offer HELOCs, because they wanted to incentivize them to do a cash out refinance instead. When in reality, a HELOC may have been better for those certain folks. So literally, they're just lying or just speaking without knowledge. Big red flag. Okay. Next, 5, I will do your loan for free. I hear this probably once a year or twice a year or something. I might be technically competing with another loan officer. I'll be working with a client and they'll be comparing my rates with another lender. And the other lender says, hey, like I will do the loan for free. Again, another sign of desperation. I had this happen a month and a half ago or so. And the lender actually wasn't doing the loan for free. He just told the person he was doing the loan for free. But in reality, it wasn't. Now, he was giving him a great deal. And what I did was I told that person, my prospective client, I said, yeah, you're getting a great deal. If I were you, I would stick with that person because you're going to close on time more than likely. But just so you know, it's actually not free. So it's a red flag, I think, if someone tells you, I will do your loan for free, because very often it's not free. You end up looking at the loan estimate and you find out that it's not free. Or if it is, you have to wonder what else is going on here behind the scenes. Is there a problem where it's going to fall out? Is there some issue they're not telling us about? That tends to create a red flag because just like yourself, if you work a job, and like myself, none of us can survive by working for free. So I would say, why would this person work for free? Okay, next. Number 6, I'm totally different. In my world, the way to actually display this is to, instead of saying I'm totally different, just demonstrate that you're totally different. I would hear loan officers at one of my old companies say this, I'm totally different. And it almost never worked because you, if you're watching this channel, you're likely a very smart shopper and you're intelligent. You can tell, you can sniff that out. Well, why would the person be saying I'm totally different? Why wouldn't they just show me that they're different by their actions, right? The things that they do and the things that they help me with. So if someone says, I'm totally different, I would probably say, not only is it a red flag, but also watch for the things that they do that are the same as other folks. Maybe misleading you, maybe leaving things out. And in these instances as well, it's probably just good to get a second opinion. Call somebody you trust. I'm glad to help you. My information is in the description box below, or call another lender that you trust, right? To get a second opinion, to find out, are the things that this person's saying actually accurate or not? Okay, next. This one has to do with taking a cash out refinance. Oftentimes, you'll have a lender who calls, and if they use this term, it's a big red flag. You should run away. They'll say, your initial investment is. Key term. Your initial investment is. What that typically means is points. They are charging you very likely points on your loan without using that term, because for them, that would be something that would raise, right? Would raise an antenna. Uh-oh, you're charging me big fees on this loan in order to do this cash out refinance. So there are lenders out there, unscrupulous lenders, that would encourage their loan officers to say your initial investment. Okay. That should give you pause, potentially make you run away, because if they're charging you points but also not disclosing it to you, or trying to be sort of shady about it, trying to not be totally transparent, not trying to tell you all of the facts, right? And maybe trying to mislead you in a way, then would you want to work with somebody who's going to mislead you? I know that I definitely wouldn't. So this is something that I've heard quite a few times. I've had clients in the past where they were working with another lender, and this lender, literally one occasion here in town, I was working with an older gentleman, retired guy, and he brought his lender at the time on the phone, on speaker, and his lender literally used those words. And at that point, of course, then we just decided not to go with that lender. So transparency, honesty is going to get us much farther in our industry. So if you hear, again, those things, be careful, beware, more than likely run away. Okay, a few more here really quick. This one kills me. This is pretty recent. If you don't lock your loan now, we're going to rescind your pre-approval. I hope none of you ever hear this. Absolutely terrible, trying to pressure someone to lock. I had a client of mine who told his current lender that he was shopping with another lender, and that lender then told him, if you don't lock with us right now, we're going to rescind your approval. Oof. I almost don't even need to talk about this one because I think everybody watching this right now can know how unscrupulous and terrible that is to try to pressure somebody because they find out that, hey, you're shopping with someone else. But if a lender says that to you, run as fast as you can. Number 9, similar to number 8, you're going to lose the house if you switch lenders. This particular lender that I just spoke about, they said the same thing to him as well. They said, you're going to lose the house if you switch lenders. Now, at that particular time, we were only about, I want to say 28 or 29 days out from his closing to purchase his first home. So when they're saying you're going to lose the house, they're just lying, simply not telling the truth at all, because they know that, in fact, he could very well switch lenders and be just fine. We could transfer the appraisal and everything. But instead, again, that sign of desperation is coming in there very heavily, and they're putting the pressure on him in order for him to stay with them. Big red flag. Okay, a couple more. So number 10 is bad credit is no problem. Now, it is true technically that I myself can go down to, technically speaking, as low as 500 credit score. Some lenders will say on paper 550. Now, the problem is that if the credit score is that low, it's oftentimes not said by these unscrupulous lenders that it's very, very, very difficult to get you approved with that kind of a credit score. Because oftentimes what comes along with that credit score is a lot of other things that are standing in the way of us getting that loan to the finish line. Because the underwriter, who is the referee, the underwriter will oftentimes say, wait, nope, stop, we're not doing it for this, and this reason. And then that gives you, the potential homeowner, the potential borrower, that gives you a terrible experience. And for me in my business, I want to make sure that you, if you're my client, you have a great experience. Well, lenders in this regard, unscrupulous lenders that say something like bad credit is okay, unfortunately, they just simply don't care about the client experience in many cases. As a matter of fact, I haven't heard of one case of somebody who said that and did care about the client experience. In those cases, I've heard of them where they say this, they start working with someone, and the next thing you know, it's like, well, too bad, you didn't qualify. And now you're 30 to 45 days down the road. You thought you were going to close, and you didn't close, and now you didn't get your house. Instead, why not just be honest? And let's just bring everything out on the table, be transparent, and say, hey, let's work on the credit first. Okay. Last one. This one's actually a little bit of a bonus because this isn't necessarily one that you would, if you're speaking to a lender, that they would say to you during a conversation. But this is something called trigger leads. Trigger leads are when you have a lender, such as myself or somebody you trust, who pulls your credit. They do a hard pull on your credit, and they're trying to get you potentially pre-approved for a loan. Well, as of right now, today in 2023, the 3 credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, they are allowed to sell some of your information to these different mortgage lenders. Not the lender you're working with, but they will sell it to other lenders in order to make money. These are often in mortgage, these are called trigger leads. So if you get a phone call or a text message from a lender that says something like, hey, so-and-so, or hi, John, hi, Susie, I'm so-and-so, I'm responding to your application from our partner. That is a big red flag. Not only is it dishonest because it makes it attempt to appear that you're the lender that you're currently working with, that they are, but in fact, you didn't apply with them at all. So they're saying, I'm responding to your request. Well, in reality, you didn't request anything from them. You simply filled out an application, say hypothetically with me, but now another lender has purchased their data from, let's say, Experian. They'll purchase their name and their address, and then they will go out on the internet and they'll find your phone numbers. It's a method called skip tracing. And then from there, then they'll call you and they'll attempt, if they will, to get in front of me and get to you first. Okay. And oftentimes they'll use deceptive tactics. Now, I believe there is something going through Congress right now, some sort of law that's attempting to stop these trigger leads. If you've gotten calls, these kind of trigger leads or these trigger calls, unsolicited phone calls from mortgage lenders, you can go to a website called prescreenoptout.com. prescreenoptout.com. I'll put it in the description box below. You fill in your information and they can no longer sell your information to lenders. But if you have these calls, and a lot of times they're text messages as well, even emails, okay, watch out, because this is very likely an unscrupulous lender who potentially is going to exhibit all or many of these traits that we just went over. Okay, that's it for today. Again, I'm Aaron Lietz with Logical Loan. Keep your loan logical and call me if you guys need help. Take care.